Hello everyone and welcome to another casual review. Today I'm talking about The Artful Escape. In The Artful Escape, you play as a guitar player named Francis Vendetti, and you are the nephew of a really famous folk guitar player, not unlike Bob Dylan. The game starts out where you are living in this town, which is the birthplace of this famous artist, and everyone expects Francis to be the exact same type of musician as his uncle. They have a huge annual festival honoring this musician, and you are expected to play in his honor. However, the problem is Francis doesn't really want to be a folk artist, and his mind is constantly wandering into this whole epic space rock opera genre. He wants to wail and shred on the electric guitar, but he feels the burden of trying to meet up to the expectations of the town and his late uncle. And so the night before the big concert, he is kind of swept away on this giant epic space adventure to play as the opening act for the very famous artist known as Lightman, who is voiced by the late Carl Weathers. Now, Lightman is a prodigy of his time. He's the pilot of this giant ship called the Galactic Lung. And so Francis kind of goes on this huge space adventure, accompanied by Lightman and his laser artist named Violetta. And the whole time he is confronting his feelings about being a folk artist when he wants to really have his own type of persona here. And so as you are playing through the game, you are slowly developing more and more of like your own unique stage persona. There are times when you have like to choose different options on like your descriptions of your past, what your name is, eventually choose like your outfit, what kind of guitar you have. And so there's some customization here to really make Francis's stage persona your own persona. And for a chunk of the game, you are, when you're interacting with people, talking with them, you can kind of choose what thing to say. I don't think this would really like affect the outcome of the story very much, depending on like what choices you choose. I feel like it is a pretty linear path. The main thing that this changes is your own descriptors. To be honest, this really isn't too much of a game as much as like an experience. Most of the time when you're actually playing, you are just going to be walking either from left to right or right to left, and you are doing some very, very light platforming. The cool thing and the entertaining thing about this, however, is whenever you want, you can hold a button to start wailing on electric guitar. And as you do that, the background and the environment kind of reacts with you. And so if there's like animals in the background, then they'll start getting up and lighting up, and plants will start lighting up. And as you're wailing on your guitar, the world just kind of like explodes in life. And really, like, that's the gameplay of it. You're either talking with somebody and choosing dialogue options, or you are doing some light platforming and wailing on a guitar the entire time. There is some times when it's kind of like a Simon Says kind of thing where certain buttons will light up and you have to press the same buttons and like play the same notes. It's kind of like you're repeating after somebody, but there's no like repercussions for getting the wrong button. I guess the main repercussion is you feel kind of dumb because like the wailing on the guitar suddenly comes to a complete halt. But other than that, you can just keep trying over and over again. Really, the main appeal of this game is the music, the visuals, and the message. If you don't resonate with any of those, then you're probably not going to get a lot out of this game. But if what you see on the screen and what I'm telling you about sounds intriguing, I think you actually will get a lot out of this. There were plenty of moments when I was playing this game, just walking across the stage, playing my guitar, seeing the background light up, and hearing the amazing music where I was moved in a certain way, maybe even just getting a little emotional, because it really does just like suck you in, and it makes you want to start shredding on electric guitar. And just the message can ring so clear, trying to be your own person and not always necessarily following the path that is laid out for you, even if it's expected of you, just kind of living by the beat of your own drum. The visuals, though, they just look so amazing. There's so many moments when I'm playing this and I'm just shredding my guitar, and there are just like spaceships flying in the background, or there are these like giant weird alien animals that are just moving in the background and the foreground. The world itself is so unique because you are playing in space and everything's just so exaggerated the way that a rock persona would be. And so the aliens and the planets themselves kind of remind me of like Rick and Morty-esque without the gross factor necessarily. Everything is just so intriguing, the planets and the aliens, and you just kind of like embrace it all in order to build your persona, and it really like builds up Francis Vendetti in terms of like confidence and believing in who he is and believing that he can tackle any kind of obstacles that he may overcome. The Lightman in this game, voiced by Carl Weathers, was really good as well. May he rest in peace, but I thought he was a very interesting character. He's kind of like he still rocks, but he's kind of like a has-been, and so he plays it with a lot of grace, but at the same time, you know that he still wants to be like the star of the show. Violetta is an interesting character as well. She's kind of like always been in the background because she's in charge of like the laser light show, but at the same time, you can see that she really holds herself in high esteem, and she's just kind of like waiting for the right moment to actually get credit for her work. I don't know, it also seems like the kind of game that everybody's going to take away something different from it in terms of the messages. At the same time, as much as I love the visuals in this game, I don't like the character models and animation. They're kind of like blobby and springy, and I've played a couple other like indie games that are done with this kind of animation style. It must be easier to animate or something because they kind of move like blobby puppets. It's not as visually appealing as something that was more drawn frame by frame. I don't like the character animations, but at the same time, it's such a good looking game, and it's something that I've never really seen before. Occasionally, as you're doing this slight platforming and you're playing your guitar, like the camera will kind of like pan out in certain moments just so you can see this whole world that you're treading across, and other times it will zoom in on you as you're wailing on that guitar, and there's like lights all around. It's like a cinematic experience for sure, and you definitely want to have really good speakers and turn them up to listen to that music. I did notice some light texture pop in, so basically like when it switches to a different scene, the character model will look all fuzzy and pixely, but then all the textures will pop in and then it will look good. This happened quite frequently, and I'm not sure if it was unique to my own devices or if it's something about the game. It's a short game, takes about 3 hours to beat, so I mean ideally you'd probably want to do this in one sitting, the same way you'd want to watch a movie in one sitting, because the message and the tone of the game isn't going to ring as true to you unless you do it all in one sitting, where you can really see the character growth and the character progression throughout the game as Francis develops this stage persona and the confidence in what he wants to do. Really, if what I have talked about sounds interesting to you, I think you're going to get a lot out of this game. If what I have talked about does not sound interesting to you, I don't think that your mind will be changed if you actually play it and you're looking for something a little more in-depth gameplay-wise. I actually had a really good time playing it though, or experiencing it is the word I think I should use. But yeah, the music, the visuals, the message, that all rung true with me, and I had a good time playing it. I personally would give this game a 4 out of 5, but that's really going to be dependent on who you are. I could see some people being really bored with this game because of the lack of actual challenge and gameplay. Well guys, that's it for me. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about the Artful Escape, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye!
Are you God?
Darling, you are divine. I am not. You know, I did see her once, from a distance.
What was it like?
She was playing pinball.
No way!
Way. All the greats are obsessed with pinball.